Well, I've just finished sanding all the edges down. There's places where I've used some ez-fillet to fill in some of the bigger gaps. You can tell by the brown color, and then some of this whiter color was some slow fair I had, which is just a slower curing version of System 3's quick fair. You want to get the slow fair in the big 1.5 gallon containers. But I will be trying something that System 3 is pushing. It's a 1-to-1 mix that they use. It's called Rot Fix for fixing rotten window jambs and doors or that kind of thing. So supposedly they told me that it's the same thing, just a 1-to-1 mix instead of 2-to-1. So we'll try that when we flip the boat over. So we've got it all done. Everything's rounded. Take your hands and feel around as you have good round edges, and everything is smooth, because the next thing we're going to do is mark up an edge for our 3-inch tape to put on, which you know where it's going to go. So let me go ahead and switch over to that. I'm going to show you something else down at the other end here. Let me cut to where I did some modifying on that edge that we had, where there was two edges of the plywood came up and they didn't overlap one way or the other, but there's a little square in there. Let me go show you what I did with that. When I originally put in that little, when I was using the bag of ez-fillet, put it in that little ridge in there, in my scraping I had some voids, but I knew at the time I was doing that I was going to have to come back, so I mixed up some slow fair and put that in, and then just finished rounding it down. So now I have a nice round surface. There was a little bit of height difference in here between the scab I put in and the top piece I put in, or the leftover piece that we had from when we cut out the panels. But everything's going to be fine. By the time I get the tape on top of it, you won't even know that it was there. And I'm going to show you another little trick too right now. I'm just thinking about it. I said earlier we wanted to save as much of the original wood as possible. You'll notice, well, you have these kind of funny panels cut out. That what do you do with them? I found on the OMP pot, I took some of these and I turned them into the tiller. But if you need some strips across here, you can just take, I've got my 4-foot level, it's about an inch wide or whatever, and then just, it's a nice straight edge. And now you've got a, can you see it in there? Yeah, right there. Now you've got a 1-inch wide piece about 4 feet long that you can use on your seats. So there are ways to get around this, and then once you got one straight edge, you can always slide it over. Mark in another little piece that's about 2.5 foot long. If you got a bandsaw, it works great. Handsaw, if you got one of those little draw saws, just have it at a low angle, not high, but a low angle, and you can follow that line just like a table saw can. So much for that. Now we're going to take out the sliding square again, and I'm going to mark off. I got some 3-inch tape we're going to put across here, and I've got it set at 1.5 inches, and I've been making some tick marks at various edges just to get a test to see how it's going to fold over. It comes down right to the edge of that little packet we put in, and it also will hide these seams here. So I may move it back no, that's about right. It comes right, got about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom edge to the top of or the bottom of the wood here. So that'll cover these corners up real nice, and it'll give me enough coverage over these spots we spliced in. I'm happy enough with the joints in here that I think by the time I get done putting on, give everything sanded, and then put on roll on a coat of epoxy over everything, and then put on a coat of primer, and then about probably 2 to 3 coats of marine enamel. I don't think I'm going to worry about these seams on the inside, or for the Footwell. I've been talking about the Footwell, I never show you the thing, so let me reset up on a reverse angle. Okay, here's my Footwell that I put in because of the distance and the hull not having as much support by the water in the stern area like the double ender, the OMP pod. And unlike the nuthatch, which has a nice big flat stern on it, you have to move the seat forward. It can't be in the transom. So I put in this Footwell. I found out when I was doing the OMP pod, and I had to cut it in after I had everything finished. So on this one, I pre-planned, well, it was going to be the same problem. So I put this in. It's completely watertight. It's still an airtight chamber. And I've got this Footwell back in here. And I'm not going to put any tape on the vertical seams like the side tanks or this back one. So I'm going to leave it as is and just give it a good coating of epoxy and paint. Okay, one of the things I did on my scale is I put a little notch in the end here so I can set my pencil in and just drag it along. And get to the corner, just flip it over. I'll have to extend this with a straight edge. And being ambidextrous that I'm not, just draw it along. Okay, then we'll do that for the rest of the haul. I haven't really mentioned yet that it's a boat, it's not furniture. If it looks good, it's say 6 or 7 feet away, that's fine. Don't worry about if you're right here and you've got your nose 6 inches away from it, you see an imperfection. Don't care about that. This is a boat. If it's the first time you're building one, don't worry about it. It's your first boat. You learn as you go along. You'll build more afterwards once you get more confidence. It doesn't even take that much confidence to build your first boat. Just take your time and look at the plans, whoever the designer you buy from, and just follow along. I mean, it's a boat. It can't do anything more than be a boat. So unless you start trying to play with the design. But if it looks good from 10 feet away, then that's fine. It's not household furniture that's going to go in a museum someplace. Okay, this is that area that I said we had to mask off. I put in my a straight line for where the tape will overlap down through here, and my the rim of the hatch will come up into here. And I don't want glass into that because that'll distort the frame some. So I'll put this glass on here, and if you've seen some of my earlier videos, this line, this upper line, will be where we'll cut and pull away the excess tape after it's gone green, when it's firmed up but it's still a little bit tacky, and it'll come up easily. So I've done that to this hole and the forward hole, and those are the only two spots that need that. Well, I've added blue tape around my corners. These will be my cut lines, just like on the hatch here. I'll lay the glass down and wet it up just beyond, and I'll come back when it turns green with a sharp knife and cut it along there and peel any excess. So I'll have a nice straight line that I'll cover up later with the ez-fillet compound, and then that'll hide those edges underneath the compound. So much for that. It's coffee break time.